I want to thank my right honourable friend from Holton B. Howden for securing this debate. And actually, I agree with a lot of what he said. But it's not an either or, it's an and. Yes to new towns, yes to new villages, yes to these green garden villages, towns and cities. But we also need to get the system working. My significant, where I take a lot of issue with people is people think this is a system failure. To me, above all else, I think it's a market failure. And I do agree with what the Honourable Lady from North Shropshire said about the need for rural affordable housing. That is a massive problem in my patch. On the Isle of Wight, we've increased our population by 50–60%. We've doubled our population in the last 50–60 years. We've never really built for locals. We need to be prioritising local building. I would overwhelmingly prioritise affordable housing. Yes, I would have lower targets because we've got an amazing landscape. 75% of the island is protected. We need to protect that, but we need to look after our own people, especially on an island. I'm going to throw out some facts because I know we have a problem with house building in this country, but I do think it's important to note. And my honourable friend from South Middlesbrough and East Cleveland, we've built 2.5 million homes since 2010. Last year, according to the House of Commons Library, 400,000 first-time buyers, the best for 30 years. 829,000 people in this Conservative government have been helped. And we are building, on average, since 2015, 222,000 homes a year. Those are actually quite respectable, especially, dare I say it, compared to New Labour, when they were building, according to the House of Commons Library, 171,000 homes a year. So we have a problem, but to say we are not building when we have built 2,500 homes since 2010, and when since 2015 we're building 222,000 homes a year, I think we have to slightly nuance the points that we're making. We know that other factors are playing the role. Immigration. You know, huge rates of immigration. If you've got 600,000 net, unless you're building close to 1 million homes a year, you're in trouble. We know that the printing of money, quantitative easing, as a sensible man like my right friend will know, is very bad news because you've got inflation in house prices and assets. Interest rates have been too low for too long. And we've got a problem, as my honourable friend from North Devon will know, with second homes, etc. In the few minutes that I have, I'm just going to rattle through a few points, if I may. OK, what do I mean about the market failure? After the crash, 70% of supply is delivered by the 10 largest developers, and they are responsible for a vast number of the planning permissions that we have. According to Litchfield Surveyors, and they're a very respectable outfit, they do a lot of the thinking on this sort of thing, it takes 20 years to build out a housing estate of 2,000 homes. From initial permission, it takes 8.5 years until you have your first home. I'm sure you could speed that up. But that's how long it's taking, and a lot of that is developer slowness. And they then build out at a rate of 150, 160 homes a year. And so somebody getting a 2,000 home planning permission now is going to finish that development in 2043. So the question that I have, is there something that we can be doing to speed up the process? If you're a developer with a good reputation, if you're a builder with a good reputation, you've got a small site, it's brownfield, you're going to throw in some social housing, or you're working with affordable housing, shouldn't you go to the front of the queue? If you say you're going to build out very quickly, you bounce the big developers into better behaviour. So I'm wondering there's much more that we could be doing. I just want to say a few things about the so-called NIMBY rebellion, which I don't think was very NIMBY, and I'm not even sure it was a rebellion. We had a few issues. A significant issue with the stuff that pains me. The lazy developer reliance on greenfield, low-density, out-of-town housing estates, because they are unsustainable. And it's great for the and the honourable member from Stretford-on-Ormston made a very impassioned and very eloquent speech. But if you're saying greenfield, develop, I mean, where does that fit in with our climate change agenda? We know that high-density cities are a critical way of reaching net zero. We have some of the lowest density cities in the world. Sheffield has a density 1/10 of Barcelona. That is an extraordinary statistic. Sheffield, 1,500 people per square kilometre. Barcelona, 16,000. They're both slight outliers, but if you look at London, about 9,000 per square kilometre. Paris, 12,000. You look at Newcastle, Bristol, Manchester, Birmingham, about 3,000 people per square kilometre. Valencia, Basel, Bilbao, Geneva, almost double that. So we have a problem with density in our country. When it comes to top-down housing targets, the problem with top-down housing targets is the developers game the system. They get the permissions, as the Honourable Lady from North Shropshire says. They sit on them for 8-9 years. And then they come back to us, to the council, like the Isle of Wight Council, and say, you haven't built. You haven't built. So we're going to push through more. So that system isn't working. But what else did the so-called NIMBYs want? We want greater powers for compulsory purchase. We want government to say to lazy developers who sit on places for years, you've got 6 months to build out, or we put that place on the market for you. We have strongly recommended a character test for builders as well, so that if you're a bad builder and you don't treat people with respect, or you don't build, you don't get the permission. We want more focus on smaller sites. We need more focus still on the 500,000 brownfield site properties. We know that London is particularly bad. It's building a quarter of the homes that we need, and that's really stifling the targets and the numbers. I love the idea of the properties above shops. We said that to our right honourable friend from Surrey Heath when we were negotiating for this. We want more emphasis on that. We wanted more emphasis as well on affordable housing, so that councils like Shropshire or mine on the Isle of Wight could really force this stuff through. So when it comes to being a NIMBY, actually what we're doing very often is finding a better way to fix the system, whether it's having last-time sellers. So if you're old and you want to downsize, you pay a significantly reduced rate of stamp duty to encourage people to free up the market. You know, 50-year or 30-year fixed-rate loans, so you know what you're getting. Because actually last year, before interest rates rises started going up, I know house prices were rising, but because interest rates are very low, actually housing was relatively affordable historically, statistically. It's less affordable now because our interest rates have gone up 5% to historic average rather than being historic low. So I will now wind up to say that I hope the government sticks to the agreements. There's a lot that we could be doing to free up the market and to actually make the market work rather than just attack the system. Thank you.